Melanie Judges, or Mel Judges. I'm an assistant women's rugby coach here at Carleton. I've been coaching for 4 seasons, and before that I was an athlete here on the team for my 5th and final year of eligibility. Team is technically as an assistant coach, even more technically as the forwards coach. I'm also in charge of our kind of set piece, so lineouts. My day-to-day when we're training involves working with very closely with the head coach, establishing kind of practice plans, making sure everything's ready for practices. I usually run a good portion of the practices myself, so I am an assistant coach, but I definitely I'm lucky with our head coach that I get to take on a lot of initiative myself. Much as I love coaching, I love working with the girls and helping them grow and develop in every aspect of their life, even more than I love just coaching them in rugby. At Carleton, I was lucky that our former head coach, Patrick Thompson, kind of brought me under his wing when I was still playing and asked me if I would continue on with the team in an assistant coaching capacity. I hadn't considered coaching too much at a higher level, university level, before that. But he sort of made a promise to mentor me through the process, make sure that I was comfortable working at the university level. And I found I loved it. I love the sport, and like I've said before, I love the sport, but I loved working with the girls. And I think that starting from that first season coaching, I kind of have dove in to the water completely, and I love it, and I wouldn't take anything back. Growing up, high school, elementary school, I was a dual sport athlete, so I played high-level volleyball and I played high-level rugby. And I would say about 50% of my coaches growing up were female, which is not common, but I was just very lucky, and a lot of them empowered me to go on and succeed in my sport, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities that they gave me. At the higher level that I've played, I've been very lucky to have female coaches and male coaches, and I can definitely attest to the fact that, and it's likely just my personal experience, but the female coaches that I have had playing at the higher levels with the provincial and dabbled a little bit at some national training camps, the female coaches that I have had at those levels have been what has kept me in the sport, kept me playing. I'm still as a female coach and just as a female in a sport like rugby, I have had a ton of challenges. I would say a little bit more on the administrative side than on the coaching side specifically. But even on the coaching side, it's very difficult to be taken seriously in a male-dominated sport. I have often sat in rooms where I have brought up valid points, and I have been kind of walked all over. But it is great to see that there's a growing number of females that are getting involved in the sport at the coaching level, at the administrative level, and that has helped. It's helped to have kind of some allies in those rooms. The first thing I would say is to never be outspoken. So I try my best to make sure that I make my point clear. I'm never intimidated by a room full of men. I'm always going to stick to my guns. I'm going to make sure that I can get my points across. In a coaching capacity, I want to make sure that if I'm leading a session or working in a group with other males or other people, I want to make sure that I'm given an opportunity to show why I have been asked to be there or why I am there. I don't want to just be a pylon on the sidelines coaching with a bunch of men. I want to make sure that I'm taken seriously at all times. So never kind of be outspoken or let people kind of walk all over you. And the other thing I would say is that just to make sure that you master your craft, you understand your sport, all aspects of your sport, so that, because there are a lot of people out there that don't, and then you can bring some very valid points and arguments to the table, and then you will likely be taken more seriously. And then the last thing, I've touched on it before, but just having some allies in the community to kind of help you out. And that comes from not just from females, that comes from people who kind of are very open to everybody contributing to the rugby community, contributing to the coaching community, making sure that whether it's kind of reaching out one-on-one to different friends that or contacts that in the community, making sure that they're reinforcing you, they're there to back you, or I think it has changed. I think sometimes I think it's changed too much. I think sometimes, no, I don't think it's the case at Carleton, but I think that sometimes there is we need a female coach to make it look like we are equal and we're giving equal opportunities to everyone. So you are the token female coach of the, Carleton rugby team. But I have been told in the past kind of like, you're the girl on the team. So you're the girl on coaching a girls team. All the girls, we need to have you there just so that girls feel they can come and talk to you about the personal matters and so on and so forth. So I think that the landscape has changed. There are more opportunities for coaches now, and female coaches are being taken a lot more seriously, and we see that way beyond just Carleton. We see that in professional leagues in all over the world, especially even in the NFL, NBA. We see a lot more coaches getting opportunities like that, but I think sometimes it is taken to the opposite extreme. The most rewarding part of my job are the athletes, not at all the success of the athletes. I mean, don't get me wrong, winning a national championship is definitely rewarding, but more so, that would be more so rewarding to the athletes and the coaches. I think seeing my athletes grow and develop on and off the field, as well as seeing them continue to be motivated in their sport and in their everyday lives, regardless of the situation in this pandemic. Obviously, it's very cliche to say my family have always been my role models, but with respect to rugby specifically, I do have female and male role models. I think it's very important. My male role model is our former head coach, Patrick Thompson. He is a role model of mine, and he was a very, very good mentor. I have to give him a lot of credit for my development as a coach. But with respect to female role models, I have a lot of coaches who have coached me personally in the past who are role models, but also, and I would say the biggest role models of mine are athletes that I have played with who have gone on to coach, continue coaching in any sport, but likely rugby. Yes, my goal when I started coaching was just to get by, to be honest. I had no idea what my goal was when I first set out. My intentions with coaching were pretty much simply to please Pat Thompson. There was a void. They needed a coach to fill that role. And I just said I would step in because I enjoyed working with him, and I had just played a season with most of the girls that I would be coaching. So I wanted to help out, and I wanted to share kind of what I could share. So that has completely changed now. My goal as a coach now is first and foremost, like I mentioned before, to ensure that the athletes are growing, developing, ensure that I am staying up to speed on their lives, everything that's going on in their life, but also two, our sport. Rugby is a very unique sport in that it changes, it's constantly evolving, tactics, strategies, but also laws are constantly changing in the sport. So I want to make sure as a coach I am staying well resourced, ensuring that I am up to speed on the best possible way to coach my athletes on the field, as well as the best possible ways to keep my athletes connected and happy and everything off of the field. And then as a coach, I obviously want to continue growing. I'm very early in my coaching career. I've only been coaching for 3-4 years at the higher level, so I have a lot to learn from a lot of people, and I want to make sure that I don't become complacent. I don't think I ever would, but I don't want to become complacent in my coaching. I don't want to just kind of be like, I'll just keep doing the same thing and stay stagnant with the team. I want to make sure I'm constantly challenging myself so that I can challenge my athletes to be better every day on and off the field. I applied to do my MBA, which is a relatively intensive program, and I wasn't planning on playing rugby. And the first year that I did my master's, there was a massive void. I was like, no, I need rugby back in my life. Rugby, for anybody who's been a varsity athlete before, helps actually. I find being a varsity athlete helps organize your life better. It helps balance academics, and it really helps with time management and prioritization. So I reached out to the coaching staff in my first year. I came out to a couple practices and trained with them a bit, but I was technically ineligible to play anyways because I had transferred schools. But I trained a bit with them in the off season, and then in my second year I played in that season. So that's why I chose Carleton, but I'm still at Carleton for I graduated in 2015 and it's 2020. So I've been here for 5 years. And I'm still here because of the program, because of the people, and the opportunities that have come up both for me and for the women's rugby team here. And I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. So why I came and why I'm still here are two very different stories. But I'm here for the rugby. I'm here for, the program is great and the resources that we have here at Carleton are phenomenal. But the people are really why I'm still here. We could be playing ping pong for all I care. If I could play with these girls, I'd still be here.